Good morning. Hello, hello, hello. This is attorney Mike Gravlin coming to you from Chicago as usual. I'm sorry, I probably surprise attacked you. I started a little bit early. I put the wrong time, but it's been a crazy morning. We had a fun court hearing already up in Presqu'île with Judge Aaron Gauthier. And that was an interesting one. I what did I call that? I called that Woman in Common Law #2. It was a follow-up to a prior video I did. I'll put a link to that in the description below someday when I get around to it. Right now, I'm waiting for Judge Middleton's call to start, and I just wanted to get in. So welcome aboard. All right, I just did that so I'd have a start and an intro to this video. I didn't get that going with the other one this morning. All right, let me check in here. That's I'm just trying to see if looks like 3B hasn't started yet. 3B is not on board. Tell me in the chat if 3B starts so I don't start rambling on and miss the call. But that call's supposed to be at 10 o'clock, and Samuel Perdue, or Samir Siraj Maro Bay, if you will, is supposed to be on there. I would guess that means he's taking a plea deal. I've got to see it. So I'm going to keep checking here. I don't see that call happening yet. But Mr. Purdue has a way of doing that. The first time I tried to do this, he had a date in court, and I've got a video on that called I think bench warrant or something like that. And we sat there for a half hour because he had 3 cases scheduled, and I sat through all of it with Judge Middleton, and nothing happened except he issued a bench warrant at the end. Oh, good times, good times. So hopefully this happens here. He's on now. All right. I'm not seeing him.
Sentence. So let's break that down, Mr. Marrowbay. The 2 charges of driving suspended second offense are misdemeanors. They're punishable by up to a year in jail and a fine of up to $1,000. They carry 2 points and require that your license be suspended. The other driving suspended would be a first offense. No, they're all second offense. She's also going to dismiss the false license charge. The charge that's left on each of those is called allowing another to violate the motor vehicle code. It's found under Michigan compiled laws 257.326. It is a misdemeanor, but it carries no points and it doesn't get abstracted to your driver's license. Won't affect your ability to keep or maintain your driving privileges. The 2 speeding charges are not criminal offenses, they're civil infractions. You don't plead guilty to a civil infraction, you simply admit. Now, it's my understanding in your discussions with Ms. Davis that you've agreed to plead no contest to these charges. You and I discussed that briefly at the last pretrial. By pleading no contest, you don't admit the charge, but you also don't deny it, and you allow or accept that a conviction would enter. And I would take the factual basis off the face of the ticket. The punishment for allowing another to violate the motor vehicle code, it carries a fine of up to $100 plus costs, and it carries no points, and it doesn't go on your driving record. This would resolve all the pending charges you have in St. Joseph County, and we would not be having a jury trial in March of 2022. Do you understand?
I definitely I comprehend.
All right, and you're appearing, I'm not sure how you wish to characterize it under protest, but you are here and you've mostly appeared when directed. Are you going to enter no contest pleas to those 3 charges?
Yeah, me and Deborah definitely talked Friday, and I decided that as much as I don't want to, but I feel like in lieu of a fair trial, this is probably my best bet. So in lieu of
You
a fair
seem
trial,
like an intelligent man. You and I have had a number of conversations, and you're a man that knows his own mind. Let me ask you this, did anybody threaten you to try to get you to plead to these charges?
I mean, well, I mean, of course, I have no choice but to be here. I mean, no one's forcing me to accept the plea. Well, I say
Other than the plea agreement, did anyone promise you anything other than Miss Davis's promise that she will dismiss all these other charges?
um I mean, no one promised me anything, but I mean, obviously, if I don't show up for court, if I'm not here, obviously a warrant is sent out for my arrest,
Yes.
and then I'll be locked up. So I'm definitely here under threat, duress, or coercion. But I decided to accept the plea deal
All right,
and do
we've
a fair
also-
trial. I'm not going to get a fair trial.
I would like to think you could get a fair trial, but we haven't gotten to that point. There won't be a trial if you enter these pleas. Do you understand that?
Oh yes, definitely.
If you had a trial, you'd have the right to be represented by an attorney. You'd hire one, or I would appoint one. You would also have the right to represent yourself, and you've expressed that desire every time. If you had a trial, you'd have the right to take the witness stand and testify on your own behalf, but you don't have to, because you have a right not to testify. And if you did not wish to testify, the judge or jury could not hold your silence against you. You would also have the right to have any of the witnesses against you or for you called to testify, if I didn't already say that. You'd have the right to be presumed innocent till the state was able to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt, if they could. All right, well, let's talk about these one by one. The first incident occurred in September of 2020. Do you plead no contest to allowing another to violate the motor vehicle code in that case?
Are you asking me?
Yes, are you pleading no contest to that charge?
Um, oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry. I guess I didn't realize I had to actually answer that. Under TDC, yes.
All right. So, and the ticket indicates, well, I'll go to the ticket here in a minute. Also that you were speeding at least 73 miles an hour. I think it was like 84. And you admit, or at least no contest for the speeding charge.
Under threat, I do.
All right.
We're
the
almost
next
there.
Case, which was November 25th of 2020, had a driving suspended and false or forged license. They're going to dismiss that charge.
I see that, but
Plead to allowing another to violate the motor vehicle code,
It's
also by no contest.
it's a win for society as well.
Contest in that case as well, under the same terms and conditions. Is that correct?
Oh yes, under threat, yes.
All right. And the speeding charge as well, same thing, you acknowledge 73 and a 55. Is that correct?
Only under threat, duress, or coercion, yes.
Okay. Then the last one
Whatever.
is the January 31st of 21. Prosecutor is going to dismiss false or forged ops. And they're going to dismiss driving suspended first offense. And you'll plead no contest to allowing another to violate the motor vehicle code. Once again, under the same terms and conditions as the other two cases.
Oh yes.
All right. All right, well, the good news is, other than the speeding tickets, none of these are going to show up as a driving suspended on your record. The bad news is they're separate incidents and each one will carry a fine. So let's do the first one first. September 17th. I'm gonna do the normal fine and cost. You did spend 1 day in jail for failing to appear. I'm gonna give you 1 day in jail credit, 1 day. I'm not ordering any additional jail time. You understand?
I was wondering how long it took him to bond out.
All right. I'm gonna do a $75 fine, $75 crime victims' rights fee, and a $50 state minimum fee. That's the normal fine for this, $200. The speeding charge, it's the same charge. One is 140 and the other is 205. I'm gonna make them both 140. The speeding ticket by operation of our policy is due within 30 days. That will be due by January 31st. All right. The file 202653, the November 25th case.
I bet he straightens out. I could be wrong, but I bet he straightens
I'm
out.
gonna do the same thing. 1 day jail credit, 1 day. $75 fine, $75 crime victims' rights fee, and a $50 state minimum fee. $200. That's our normal fine. We're gonna determine when those are due. We haven't done that yet.
Thank you. And thank you,
And
Secret Squirrel.
You acknowledged that you were going 73 and a 55. That is 140. And that is due by
Guilty as
January
charged.
31st, 2022. All right, and then the last one is the January 31st. Deborah, there's a speeding in that one also. Was that part of the deal or was that?
I believe that we agreed to have just 2 of the speeding tickets.
That one's gonna be dismissed. And the no proof of insurance was also gonna be dismissed. Same fine and cost, 21213 ST.
Yeah, Judge Gothier was on fire this morning.
No contest.
If you guys haven't seen that, go check it out.
1 day jail credit, 1 day. $75 fine, $75 crime victims' rights fee, $50 state minimum fee. $200. Mr. Morrow Bay, you owe 2 fines of $140 by January 31st. We've got to set up due dates for these 3 no contest misdemeanor pleas. I set these as a normal sentence. I didn't gouge you or add anything to it. I reduced the fine in one of the speeding tickets by about $65. And I am dismissing on prosecutor's consent, the no proof of insurance, which is going to save you $215. Which leaves 3 no contest pleas to allowing another to violate the motor vehicle code. It won't go on your driving record. There's 3 fines of $200. There are 2 speeding tickets of 73 and a 45, which will go on your driving record. The total you owe is, I think, $880.
Yes, it was beautiful.
2 140s.
Oh, that's pretty expensive.
Yeah, it'd be even worse in Kalamazoo County. That's not and it's way cheaper than it would have been on the other stuff. So
As a-
the 280 is due by January 31st. How long would it take you to pay the balance of 600? I can make these due once a month, like one due in February, one due in March, one due in April.
You want me to pay with, you want me to quote unquote pay with Federal Reserve notes?
That would be sufficient. You can also pay by credit card if you use those. You can also pay by certified check or money order.
But according to the Constitution, Article 1, Section 10, only gold and silver is money.
But you can pay by gold, and silver too. I had a guy once on a dog complaint that they paid by silver or gold. I'm sure when you go to the grocery store or the gas station, you don't pay by gold or silver. Now, we have your
Right,
address.
but,
I think it's still the Southwestnage address. Is that correct?
yeah, that you can use that as an address.
As if he has gold or silver. Oh my
Now,
God.
This resolves all three of your cases. You and I have a fundamental disagreement on what the law is. You have a vision of what you think it should be, and I have another one. This is a way to resolve this matter without having to have three separate jury trials, which you would have been entitled to have. I'm gonna make these $200 ones due by March 15th.
Your Honor,
2020.
just for the record, if anybody were to hold this in the future, I just wanted to make note that, number one, we spoke on Thursday. The defendant had called me to make sure that he met the deadline that I had set. So I do appreciate his diligence with that. And we did have two fairly long conversations over the past couple of weeks discussing the options in the plea agreement, and he was very respectful, even though we definitely had disagreements about our interpretations of the law and constitutions. But I do
Yes.
appreciate that he was respectful when he was discussing these items with me. I would encourage him, though, to discontinue driving, especially in our jurisdiction, unless he is fully licensed to do so. Review of the police videos, there was not the level of respect for the officers that he gave me, and I would encourage him to, in the event he is pulled over again, keeping in mind that these officers are just doing their job just like we are doing our jobs. And I would, it was bordering on the line of resisting and obstructing, and the officers did their best to calm the situation down, even though these officers standing in the rain knocking on the windows. So I just encourage the defendant to consider the other people involved when he's having these issues with the police. So with that, I am pleased that this is resolved and that we can all go on our ways. Thank you.
He's been very respectful to me of our last couple of hearings as well. We've managed to get along. I try to treat him with respect. He's been respectful to me. He is a thoughtful man. He had some thoughtful discussions with you, and he said it was in his best interest, although he didn't like it, to resolve these matters in this manner. And I've accepted his no contest pleas, and I've assessed fines. So
I think so.
280 is due by January 31st. The others are due by March 15th. If you need more time, you can contact the court. I was gonna give you the same advice. If you keep driving, please don't do it here. They can arm wrestle with you in Kalamazoo County all they want, but you're free to go on about your business, Mr. Morrow Bay. Do you have any questions?
I do. Just I think just one. Now I know I was arrested a few times. I know one of the times I had to pay if I'm not mistaken, my girlfriend had to pay $500 for to bond me out. I believe that was the first
Well,
time.
let me see, perhaps there is a cash bond in one of these. I looked earlier, but 22073 may have a cash bond in it. Let me look at that. It's good to have friends. Let's see what we got here. I'd be very happy if I had a $500 cash bond to apply to this. I do. There's a $500 cash bond in that case, so I'll apply $200 a bond in 2073, $0. $200 a bond in 2653, $0. And $100 a bond in 213 ST, and 100 in that.
Relatively speaking.
So that reduces your 880 to 380. I used the bond to pay off two. Let me make sure there's not a bond in another one of these. That is 2073. You spent 2 days in jail on that one, 2 days credit 2. I looked for those bonds and all I saw was a surety bond. Let me make sure I don't have any more bond money in here. No, they're all sureties. So I've used the $500 of your bond to pay 2 of the misdemeanors off and apply $100 to the other misdemeanor. That leaves the 2 speeding tickets of $140 and $100 in the other case. Mr. Marrowbay, that resolves all of your cases here in St. Joe County. It would make me happy, it'd probably make you happy. He didn't come back here in 2022. I wish you the best. These matters are all resolved. I'm not ordering any additional jail time. You owe $100 plus 2 speeding tickets of $140 each. We'll send you that information to your address on Westnitch in Kalamazoo. All right, sir.
Thank you.
Free to go.
I appreciate it.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you, Deborah. I've got a civil matter.
All right, that is the fascinating, gripping conclusion to this. I'm going to tell you why it's a good deal. I see lots of frustration about this. Yes, they cut him a deal, but this is an absolute win. Deborah Davis did the right thing here, in my opinion. I don't know the underlying facts, but this guy's saying I'm not subject to the law. He got a couple of traffic infraction tickets. He's not doing hard time over it. He did end up going to jail. We find out that he posted bond to get out of $500. He already spent a night in jail. That's way more than most people get. He already spent time in jail over these silly offenses from his stupid behavior. He had to pay, he lost his bond, and then he has to pay additional money, and he had to publicly admit that he is subject to the laws of Michigan. Now, he might go and squawk and say, no, I'm not, or whatever. The judge was very magnanimous about it, probably too nice, but that's sort of the way to do it. Of course they're in charge. You know, for the judge to grind on him would be like, you know, it's just insulting. Of course he's subject to the laws. And we all knew it from the get. This isn't like, oh, he pulled something off. Your guy got caught without a license. They got convictions on him. Yes, they're minor offenses, but the charged offenses were minor. Maybe they did too much, but in the interest of the public, this is a good deal. He has to admit that he is subject to the laws of Michigan. He can go and squawk all he wants about how he won. He lost. I'm telling you right here on Law Talk with Mike. If he wants to come on here and explain to me how he won, I'll tell him he lost to his face. I'll tell the world. And by the way, that'll get more views than any nonsense he puts out anyway. He unequivocally lost and pled. I mean, he tried his under duress nonsense or whatever, but in short, he had to acquiesce that there is no Moorish nation. There's nothing to save me. I'm subject to the laws, and I'm going to pay these fines. And there's nothing I can do about the time I spent in jail. That is the net result of this. It's a win. Now, Deborah Davis offered him a good deal where he had less consequences than he could have potentially had. So it's a win for him too. It was smart for him to come around. I don't care if silly people claim a win when they've clearly lost. We can't control that. But we have convictions, fines, and jail over not driving with a license. That's about as much as you can ask for. So I think it was a fantastic result. Although I understand the frustration. I do. I see it in the comments. I understand the frustration, but I just wanted to give you my take on why this is not as frustrating as you might think. Also, I've been a prosecutor, and to put these on, it's really not hard. They're very easy trials. But what you're going to do is you're going to pull a veneer in, 3 of them. Yeah, and you're gonna pull a veneer in, and although honestly, what you'd do is you'd try one of them, he'd lose, and you'd probably dismiss the other 2, and the judge would kind of know that he's really guilty of 3 and up the sentence. That's what you're hoping for. Nonetheless, even one jury trial is a waste for this sort of thing, especially when you have him publicly acquiesce, I am subject to the law, and that was what we had today. If I had to guess, he may be back, but if I had to guess, he registers his vehicle, he gets a license, and he knocks this stuff off. He spent time in jail. It looks like he said they spent he gave him one day credit for time served, but then he said he was in for 2 days on another charge. So I don't know. He spent at least 1, if not 3 days in jail over driving without a license, over that dumb decision, and it's cost him a lot of money for him. So I think he's learned some lessons. I don't know if he's got a YouTube channel or anything like that. I mean, he might run around and spout off about how he won. But everybody knows he didn't. So yeah, and if he does, then I'll make a video about it and have a nice chuckle because it's just wrong. So let's call this a victory. If you disagree with me, go ahead and throw it in the comments. I understand the other side. You could say, it'd be nice if some judge maxed him and put him in jail on these. I don't know what they were. That he maybe could have given him 30, 60 days for each offense and threw him in the jail, and the taxpayers could have paid for all that. That may or may not be a better result, but this is what happened, and personally, I'm good with it. Thank you all so much. I didn't mean to do two streams, but this is what happens when cases that I've done come up on the call. It's not my call. I just had 2 interesting cases. They both came up this morning, and I had fun with both of them. Thank you all so much for coming out.